Hi folks, welcome to another video here on Nick's Vision to Hear. If you like the channel and you've liked our content in the past, feel free to subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell to all, so when I get a bright idea, you'll be the first to know about it. Today I want to talk about a very serious issue regarding the NDIS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, of which I'm a participant here in Australia. I want to get past the noise that you're seeing in the media and political spheres about the problems with the NDIS. Now, one of the real issues is to do with what people are receiving through the system. So one of the issues with this is there's audit trails throughout the whole process. So you often wonder whether some of these people are just doing things shady or they're doing things by mistake. Now, for my NDIS funding, I have a separate bank account set up, so it's managed that way, so I know everything that's going in. Now, if I have to, for instance, go to an event where the provider's going to pay for tickets, which is paid for by me, I don't take that out of the NDIS account. I take it out of our everyday account. Now, the reason I do that is because that means that that's away from the government funding. Where I think this is becoming a problem is that some people may be doing that, not understanding you're not allowed to claim that through the NDIS. That's just an expense that you have to have. That's like everyone else. It's the transports that you get through the NDIS. What could be happening here is because the provider sometimes will have to, if the person doesn't have a companion card, they'll have to buy a ticket and then claim that back on tax as a business expense. That's where there's a problem, because it may look to the government agency that there's people buying tickets through the NDIS. So it's not what it is, but it may look that way. Here's where there's a problem with the NDIS. They'll allow this sort of thing to be thrown under the rug or be highlighted, yet they won't fund glasses or hearing aids very easily. Isn't that a bit weird? So we're seeing all these stories about people getting all sorts of funding from the NDIS, which they shouldn't, yet the most basic fundamentals of a person with a vision impairment or a hearing impairment cannot get them easily. That's very severely wrong. It's really wrong. And they'll fund the things that accessories you need. That's easy. They won't fund these things or these things in my ear very easily. It's bizarre. And so why is that? Why is it that this system doesn't fund that? Let me explain why. There's a state system that allows you to claim X amount of dollars on glasses or hearing aids. Now, what I believe needs to be done, and this comes from a more conservative thought process, is that once you are on the NDIS, you shouldn't be eligible for those state funding. That then frees that up for people who are old age pensioners or people who are not eligible for the NDIS to be able to claim that service. What should happen is the ones on the NDIS should be able to claim those things in their core funding, not capital. Core. Here's why. It's a necessity thing for someone to live their life. It's not an extra. That's just something that people need. And so what we're seeing here is something that's really, really strange in my view. Why is this? I'd love this video to get to some political voices, because I think this needs to be addressed. They're not funding the core things some people need to help their daily life, yet they'll fund beyond the fringe stuff. That's concerning to me. And it's very concerning because that is one of the main problems I see with how the NDIS functions. It needs to be looked at, and looked at rather quickly. Because if people understood that the person with an eyesight impairment was getting their glasses funded and a person with a hearing impairment was getting their hearing aids funded, there wouldn't be a problem. Or if someone who has a physical disability needed, a new wheelchair or things like that, there's no questions asked. People will understand that. It's when you see these things about people getting all sorts of services provided, then you've got to ask the question as to what's really going on here. Is this trying to include people gone too far? Have we got to a point where we're trying to turn everyday things that people do into something that a disabled person can't do? We need to really have a very serious look at this. And I think this is the one thing that I've been able to talk about today, is about the very thing, which is glasses. They're a basic necessity for someone with a vision impairment. And if you're on the NDIS, they should instantly be funded. No questions asked. Same as hearing aids, no questions asked. It just happens. Now, of course, you limit it to they can only buy them every so many years, where the life cycle of the goods are. I think glasses, it's 2 years because your scripts change. Hearing aids are 5 years. So that's understandable. But it should be able to be simply paid without question and without limitation of price, because the issue here is that these goods are something that a person with a vision impairment and hearing impairment need for their survival. And that is a very important thing. Hopefully this enlightens you a little bit today, and catch you soon on Next Vision to Hear.